Scottsdale, Arizona, February 2019. Investigative journalist Linda Moulton Howe arrives to conduct an interview with a former Navy flight engineer who has come forward with information about strange events he witnessed during his time in Antarctica.
This is where one of the most important whistleblowers in my career lives. And he has decided that he is willing to work with me to tell the truth about what happened with him in Antarctica. This is the kind of breakthrough I have been hoping, that people with real solid military information would start coming forward and we would start learning the facts and the truth in spite of government policies of denial.
I knew things that I felt needed to be put out in the mainstream.
Brian, as he prefers to be called, requested that his face and voice be obscured to protect his identity. His unit was based on the southern tip of Ross Island at the U.S. McMurdo Station, the main logistics hub that services nearly all of the scientific outposts on the continent.
Brian, when did you get into the Navy and how did you get to Antarctica?
I enlisted in July of 1976. In order to go to Antarctica, you have to volunteer. It's not a duty station where you are ordered to go. I was able to get orders to Antarctic Development Squadron 6, which is referred to as VXE-6.
And its mission would be described as what generally?
The mission basically was supplying to out camps, science parties from McMurdo Station to South Pole, back and forth.
Talk about sort of the route and what you guys began to see on a repeated basis.
During our 95-96 season, my crew was doing a lot of back and forth to Pole. Mainly it was cargo resupply, personnel exchanges. That season, prior to us doing missions, we were told by some of our officers that if we saw something flying, that we weren't supposed to say anything.
Oh, so you knew that people were already warning about, but you had not seen.
Right. So somewhere around December, we were flying a mission from McMurdo, and my loadmaster in the back, he gets on the intercom on the ICS and he says, "Hey, there's something off to the left here kind of shimmering." So I went up to the flight deck and I'm looking out the big windows and I see these little disc-shaped objects. There was probably 4 or 5 of them, and they were, at first, when I first saw them, they were just stationary over one mountain peak. And then all of a sudden, I'm looking at them, and one of them takes off by itself and flies at incredible speed to the next mountaintop and stops. And then another one in the group takes off and heads toward where the first one went.
What did the pilot say?
That was kind of funny. My pilot gets on the intercom and he kind of jokingly goes, "Well, all I can tell you is they're not ours." Not ours? What are you talking about?
And it kept happening.
Yeah, so it happened at least 2 other times.
Brian feels that it is really important that the world know that there is something that is going on in Antarctica.
Los Angeles, California, November 25th, 2019. For more than a decade, image analyst Michael Bradbury has examined videos of alleged UFOs, looking for any signs that they could be something other than man-made aircraft. Intrigued by the recently released video shot from a Chilean Navy helicopter, he has invited astrophysicist Dr. Travis Taylor to join him and lend his expert opinion in examining the footage.
The Chilean helicopter video is really intriguing and fascinating because you have this vehicle or phenomena, whatever it is, and then it starts releasing some type of material behind it. So we absolutely need to understand what this phenomena is.
All right, here we go.
I'm not going into it with a belief that it is or isn't something.
No.
So let's apply our knowledge to it and see what we can come up with.
Everything I look at open-mindedly,
you know, from a standpoint of we could be seeing something special here, you know, and then again, it could be a possible bird or a bug. That's always an option inside the atmosphere of planet Earth. It's just the way it is.
So this is from the a helicopter not far from Santiago.
Not far, November of 2014.
Okay.
There's the object. And it's only visible in infrared format.
And that's really intriguing. The high-def video, it's like it's not even there.
2 ground radar, didn't see it. The radar on the helicopter could not pick it up. So super unique circumstances here.
You got 2 hot spots, and they're separated. You know, that's intriguing.
It's probably very large because this is 35 miles away.
And how do we know for sure it's 35 miles away?
Based off of the captain that was flying the
Okay.
helicopter. That was his estimate.
I've never seen anything like this in my life.
Michael inverts the image so they can examine the object's shape more closely.
And what I've done here is taken the basic infrared and I've just kind of flipped it and adjusted it a little better for clarity purposes.
You can clearly see the shape of the
Right.
vehicle or whatever the thing is. It's peanut-shaped. Why is it peanut-shaped?
The pilot, his description was it had a flat body with these 2, like, bright lenses or something.
You know, it kind of does look like 2 jet engines if you're looking at it from the back, but the motion on it looks like it's moving side to side, and the aspect ratio doesn't change on the circles. It's not going into the page as it should be. There's no other structure. That's the thing. If you would see like wings, a nose cone, you wouldn't just see the engine. You can look at aircraft with an infrared camera and you see the structure because it's hot. You got sun shining on it. You got, you know, the engine, just the mechanics of it make it hot.
That's what I'm looking for here is reflectivity off of the physical structure.
And there's nothing. That kind of throws that idea out.
After isolating the object, Michael applies color filters to better define the object's unique heat signature for closer analysis.
Now this one is really interesting.
This is adjusted, not altered.
Sure, I got it. So you've got black is hot here, green is ambient temperature,
Yes.
I'm assuming, then white is cold.
Correct.
So here's the thing, there's clearly a field of cold air around this thing. That's baffling. This thing, it's hot and then instantly
cold.
It's cold. And in nature, that's not how things work.
No.
There is a different temperature bubble around the vehicle than there is around normal vehicles.
Exactly.
Which suggests some type of field, whatever that means. Could be, you know, electrical, magnetic, gravitational. We just don't know what it is, but there is some sort of clear anomaly in some sort of field around this craft. The most amazing thing from a scientific standpoint is some sort of low pressure or cold area immediately around whatever this phenomena is. And from a physics standpoint, we can't really explain what's causing that.
Fort Lauderdale, Florida, December 5th, 1945. 5 Navy Avenger bombers flying due east on a routine training mission encounter something strange over the Bermuda Islands. About an hour and a half into the flight, Squadron Leader Lieutenant Charles Taylor sends a radio transmission that his 2 onboard compasses have become inoperable.
Everybody got totally confused as to where they were. They were totally lost in an area where they should not have been lost. A whole squadron of US Navy aircraft just vanished. The fact that it was in this particular area obviously has given rise to the theory, could they have been abducted?
3 hours later, a rescue aircraft, a TBY, Mariner with a crew of 11 aboard, disappeared with no trace. And what that caused is one of the most extensive search and rescue operations in the annals of the United States Navy. And they never found a life preserver, a piece of a wing, or anything from those aircraft, nothing. And to this day, we have no clue as to what happened.
But Flight 19 is only one incident in allegedly hundreds that have claimed victims in what is commonly referred to as the Bermuda Triangle. And according to ancient astronaut theorists, this site, which spans a 500,000 square mile area between Florida, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico, plays host to numerous unexplained physical and metaphysical phenomena. Strange energies that may help to explain why pilots, sailors, and ship captains enter the area and are never seen or heard from again.
So you have to wonder, what's happening to these people? Is there something about the Bermuda Triangle? It's some kind of portal that aliens are using to come and go through hyperspace? And suddenly, you and your yacht or you and your plane are sucked into some other dimension. And you're not coming back.
The Bermuda Triangle is interesting for a number of reasons. First of all, it's not just one plane which goes missing somewhere. This is several planes which all disappear. Now the question is, where have all of them gone? It's not just the case that on occasion one of them is found. Really, an awful lot of what has gone missing in the Bermuda Triangle has never been seen, has never been heard of.
If an aircraft is flying over or a ship's sailing the ocean at the wrong time, could it pull them down underneath the water? So, we're looking at possibly not abductions into the sky, but actually below the ocean.
Ancient astronaut theorists say the legend of the lost city of Atlantis may be connected to the possible abductions in the Bermuda Triangle. According to legends, the island of Atlantis was an enormous ancient power that thrived as far back as 9600 BC.
The story of Atlantis, which is one of the most famous mysteries from antiquity, the earliest sources we have on it is Plato. And the city was known for being a sort of a technological marvel in its own right. And at some point, for reasons that are not entirely clear, there was an eruption of some sort and the city disappeared.
We have no archaeological artifacts from Atlantis, and we don't know if it's just mythology. So is it possible, either through evil intentions or by accident, they sunk to the bottom of the ocean in the Bermuda area? And that's why we're experiencing, or pilots experiencing, all kinds of electrical interference when they fly over the Bermuda Triangle.
October 18th, 1947. The Astrakhan region of the former Soviet Union. From a military aerospace development lab known as Kapustin Yar, scientists successfully launched their first long-range ballistic missile, a German A4 rocket. For the next decade, this will be the Soviet Union's only test site for ballistic missiles, and the beginning of a space program that put the first satellite and the first human being into space. Curiously, in 1948, Kapustin Yar was also the site of the Soviet Union's first reported UFO encounter. On June 19, 1948, a cigar-shaped object was detected by Soviet radar.
A silverish cigar-shaped object appeared over the testing grounds, and the Soviets tried to shoot it down. It's a highly classified case. We don't know exactly what happened, but allegedly they were able to actually shoot this object down. They found remnants of bodies in it, and also technology which was recovered and taken to the local bunker where they kept it allegedly for years and used it to reverse engineer some of the technology.
The Kapustin Yar incident allegedly took place within a year of the famous Roswell event. Both the CIA and the Soviet MGB intelligence agency took interest in what might have crashed and been retrieved in enemy territory.
You had American agents trying to find out what were the objects flying over the Soviet Union. At the same time, you had the Roswell incident in the United States. I can tell you that Stalin was very much interested, and he had espionage information delivered by his agents to him. We have proof of that. And he questioned Soviet academicians about the veracity of UFO threat to his country.
If stories of UFO crashes and retrievals in both the United States and the Soviet Union are true, could it have led to a collaboration between the world's only two superpowers? And considering the fact that the alleged incidents took place within a year of each other, might it have been part of an extraterrestrial agenda?
If there's a motivation of aliens or extraterrestrials in bringing these two superpowers together, it's to wake us up to recognize that, hey, once we get past all the artificial lines and borders on our planet and get out into space, that is the hope and promise of this collaboration.
If extraterrestrial spacecraft were purposely crashed in both the United States and the Soviet Union more than 70 years ago, has the study of them led to technological breakthroughs that have been kept hidden from the public? And where have these alien visitors been during the 7 decades that have passed? Ancient astronaut theorists believe they have been here all along, and that recent events suggest they are ready to make their presence known to humanity once again. November 14th, 2004. 100 miles off the coast of Southern California. Fighter pilots with the USS Nimitz Carrier Strike Group engage incoming unidentified flying craft.
Oh my gosh, dude. Wow.
11 years later, in 2015, U.S. fighter pilots engage yet another UFO.
Look at that thing, dude. Well, if there's look at that thing. It's rotating.
The accompanying report revealed fighter pilot accounts of the craft descending from altitudes of 60,000 feet to 50 feet in a matter of seconds, hovering or staying stationary on radar for short times, departing at high velocities and turn rates, and even cloaking. The release of what became known as the gimbal video was one of the most significant disclosures of government encounters with UFOs.
In the description, you're talking about maneuvers that would literally crush the spacecraft and kill any occupant. The only way you can circumvent that is if there's some sort of inertia dampening field around the craft itself, and that is, as far as we know, a technology that doesn't yet exist on this planet.
My gosh.
Reminiscent of the sport model Bob Lazar claims to have worked on at Area 51 S4, some of the crafts described in the DoD report were smooth, with no edges, uniformly colored with no nacelles, pylons or wings, and were approximately 46 feet in length. According to Lazar, at the core of its design was a nuclear reactor powered by element 115.
Element 115 was what we would call the fuel, what provided the power for the reactor to work. Element 115 affects gravity. Element 115 produces its own gravitational energy. The resulting gravity wave creates a distortion in front of it, allowing the craft to slide forward. And that's how it proceeds.
Although Lazar is adamant that he observed the sport model in flight, skeptics argue that anti-gravity propulsion is the stuff of science fiction. Or is it?